Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 86, coming off a big Bears win, 24-18 over the Rams. Like, follow, subscribe. Also, shout out to all our new subscribers. Like I've been saying, the last few weeks, we've been seeing a lot more growth than we've had in a very long time. We're up about 500 subscribers in the last, 3 weeks. Lots of comments. Videos doing about what they normally do, but the reels are doing a lot better, so we appreciate
Yeah,
all
I've
that.
noticed. I've noticed the reels.
They're doing a lot better, so we appreciate that. But to Bears talk, like I said, Bears win 24-18. We would have liked it to be more lopsided than that, but it was a win nonetheless. And the Bears offense finally started firing on some cylinders, not all of them, but a few of them got going.
No, they got the running game going a little bit in the second half, and that's what we've been talking about this entire season so far, right? And notice all of the runs that were successful in this game, a lot of it had to do with Roshan Johnson just, banging away and banging away at the defense, but also they were running DeAndre Swift between the tackles, which is what we've been saying the last 3 weeks
Yeah.
anyway. Stop with this outside zone scheme. You don't have the offensive lineman for it. Just smash it in their mouths, man. Like just wear down the defense, and that's exactly what they did. The Rams defense is not a joke. They're young. There's no Aaron Donald there anymore, but they're a hungry defense. They're not a horrible
Well, they
defense
got
by any stretch of the
two young
imagination.
guys who are really
They
good.
got good players, man. Jared Verse is a monster. Um, Braxton Jones showed that he's just not it
No,
at left tackle.
eaten alive by rookie Jared Verse, and
I'd be perfectly okay if the Bears spent the first three picks that they have on offensive linemen this upcoming draft because they're going to need it. Caleb showed some more growth. He didn't turn the ball over, and that's led to two wins now. The two games that he has not turned the ball over have led to W's, and I think there's a direct correlation in that. Accuracy was there. DJ Moore, the touchdown that should have been at the end of the first half. That was on DJ Moore. He admitted it as much. He should not have stopped. He did stop because he didn't think the ball was coming his way. He got inside release, and he just kind of slowed down, and that's on him. He knows it, but he did make up for it after Caleb pulled him to the side on the sideline and was talking to his two veteran wide receivers about miscommunication issues, and they come out, they connect on a touchdown in the second half. DeAndre Swift has done something that no Bears player has done since Jeremy Langford, and I know exactly what game they're talking about too, because the Jeremy Langford in that game had a screen pass against the Rams that he took like 96 yards or something like that for a
yeah, I remember.
touchdown. But he had 170 all-purpose yards with a touchdown. The running game got going, 7 catches for 77 yards for him as well. Caleb looked comfortable in the pocket. He was taking his check downs. He was taking what the defense was giving him. He wasn't trying to force any balls in there, and that's exactly what needs to happen. He had one amazing throw to Colt Kmet over the middle that, you know, somebody in the comments on one of the short reels we talked about, it was that Packers fan for life again. He was saying that that's a basic quarterback throw, and it's not. It's not. Not a lot of quarterbacks can make that type of throw in that tight of a window. Not a lot of quarterbacks can make the throw in tight of a window that he made to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone to connect for the first touchdown. He's showing his special arm talent. It's there. He's just got to put it all together now. Deep pass accuracy issues have come across. I have this problem in college. Maybe he's thinking too much about it because he was so good at it in college, to where he's working on the short and intermediate stuff, and it's kind of just like, oh, I can get by on my arm talent with these deep ball things, and that's just timing. It'll get there, but like you said, they put together a show somewhat in the second half. Things started clicking. They started looking a lot better offensively, and the defense did what the defense does. Matthew Stafford was Matthew Stafford. I know you say I know you're kind of like, one of those Matthew Stafford isn't as good as, people make him up to be. You know me, I'm a Matthew Stafford truther. That man can flat out ball.
I
Um,
agree with that. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's an amazing quarterback who had a career, and I watched him firsthand. But I know they were undermanned, but the game ended how it always ends with Matt Stafford. He threw an interception. Like, you know what I mean? Like, either he wins it or they don't. And that's what we talked about before, where you had messaged me that said, "Oh, well, Justin fumbled the game away." Like, that's just how those games end when you know what I mean. The game's on the line, one drive. You're going to take a sack because the game's on the line. You're not going to throw it away. the games end because you do something silly because you're trying to hold on.
The
But
only reason why I said that about Justin is because Pittsburgh was in field goal range
yeah.
when Justin took that sack.
I mean, but it was like I mean, again, it's just a bad play. Like to single out one bad play. Again, we're not gonna go too much on Justin, but single out one bad play. The kid played amazing. That's what I said. He had 311. We just played that same team a week ago, so it was a common opponent, and he played better than the guy we had. Even though Caleb had a good game, broke records, all that stuff. I thought just watching most of the game. I was watching the Bears game. I was watching them both going, so I was kind of distracted. I didn't even see the fumble in the end because the Bears game was on. But I just, like I said, Matt Stafford, he is great. He's got great arm talent. What I'll say is, yeah, the defense, we're in trouble if we're going to let Matt Stafford do that with that group of guys to us. He was dotting us up. Some timely third downs. We got off the field, which is good, but the pass rush wasn't hitting the whole game. I don't know where Sweat was. He made a few big plays in the screen game. Dexter, bald, is making us forget that we passed on Carter. Wright seems like, I don't know. Wright and Jones, to me, have regressed. I'm offensive lineman, so I'm locked in on those guys. Jones is just whipping like crazy. I don't know if it's an outside zone scheme. These guys aren't agile enough to get out there and get those hands on those guys.
That's exactly what it is.
But it's ridiculous. There's fucking compilations of these guys whiffing on blocks. It's just ridiculous. So we need a left tackle. Braxton Jones is in. I think Braxton Jones is a good lineman. I think he should just kick down the guard. Because I don't think he's terrible. I don't, like you said, they were making it simple with the inside running. They don't got to get anywhere. You block the guy in front of you, and I think the guys are fine at doing that. They're blocking the guy right in front of them. They don't, but like you got Coleman Shelton trying to reach over and get this guy, fall back and get that guy. You know what I mean? It's just our guys weren't making those blocks, so you got to make it simple. And that's what I was. Football. That's what I was frustrated about because even the last 2 years we've been bad, but we've been a good running team. Like we've been one of the top 5 rushing offense, and I know Justin plays a part in that as well. But it was mostly the running back. I mean, 1 year Justin had 1,000 yards, but last year only had like 600 or something, nothing crazy. And we were a top 5 rushing offense with basically bums. Like I mean, not Herbert's a bum, but like just guys and Dante Foreman and it was good to see us get back to that. But the offensive line is just ridiculous. Jenkins goes down again. He won't be here next year. There's no way we re-sign him. I just don't see it happening. He's a good kid. I like him. High hopes. And when he's playing at his best, he is very good, but he just gets hurt too much. He's going to want a real contract. I can't imagine Poles, after how he's been making moves, that he resigns him. But so one more time on offense, Waldron, even though we had a decent game, he needs to figure this shit out. Pre-snap penalties are terrible. That's a practice thing. That's a coaching thing. Just god awful. The play designs still aren't that good. The route combinations are terrible. I was actually reading an article, and it was showing JSN's, and that's for people who don't know, that's the receiver on Seattle, rookie.
Jackson Smith
hit the type of routes he ran under Shane Waldron and what he was running now, and it was ridiculous. It was like fly, hitch, in. Like literally the whole season. Like they did like a chart of all the routes he ran, and this year it was like all over the place, deep crosses, all type of shit. You know what I mean? It's a chart of all his routes. So like this year it's all over the place. But last year with Waldron, it was like a little kid doing a drawing. Like there was 3 routes on it. And they showed the comparison, and that's what happened with DJ Moore. DJ Moore went from running routes all over the place, and now he's running just fly out, short out, or like a comeback. It's like I don't know what he's doing if the tight ends are the only ones doing the crossers, or they're doing it with the 3rd and 4th wide receiver. That's why DeAndre Carter has been getting so many targets. But DJ's good, and we want him to get the ball deep. We want him to get it running around. He's good after the catch. He's good catching deep balls. That is what offense is getting the ball to your best players. And we did a good job of getting these passes to Swift. I think we were overprotecting in the first 3 games and not passing it to the running back enough. If you watch Jayden Daniels, who we'll talk about, and is being compared to Cable Lynch, ton of passes to the running back. Like, just keep dumping it off to him, making it easy, because these teams are like, this guy's a rookie. We're going to man press, and we're going to pin our ears back, and we're going to get after him because we're going to try and confuse him. And so you got to make easy screen, like easy dump offs to the running back, quick shit like that. And I think Waldron was outthinking himself on top of the running game not working, and that wasn't happening. And like I said, Waldron needs to get it together, because I don't like, even if we have a good year, if he keeps us up, can we fire him? It's like we're going to be stuck with him. We're in this weird purgatory where it's like we can't fire Flus. and Waldron because we're going to ruin Caleb. Like, that's just how it is. Hopefully it doesn't, because that's what looks like it's coming. We hope he's resilient enough. But in reality, when things like this happen, when you've got 2-3 coaches in your first 3 years, it usually doesn't bode well for your future. So they need to figure it out.
Well, we also have to remember too, this is 4 weeks into an NFL season with Waldron and Caleb. Okay, Matty Eberflus has no excuse. This is his fourth season. This is Shane Waldron and Caleb Williams' fourth game. Now, I took a little bit of an issue with the leadership council, as they put it, having to pull aside one of their own coaches, saying, "Hey, you need to coach us up harder." I've never heard that before in 36 years of being alive, where people have, a group of guys has had to pull their coach aside and say, "You need to coach us up harder, hold us accountable." Um, that's crazy to me. But again,
Yeah.
I can see where the frustration lies. I'm one of those people that's very frustrated, but I also look, I have to take a deep breath, and I have to realize this is week 4 for Waldron with Caleb Williams. This is week 4 of Caleb Williams with Waldron. It's going to come with time. At least that's the hope, right? I know we kind of have a little bit of short patience because we did expect this team to go to the playoffs this year, and realistically, they still should. But looking forward, we have Carolina, we have Jacksonville in London, and then we're on a bye. That's when the real grind of the schedule starts, is after the bye. If we can get these 2 victories against Carolina and Jacksonville, go into the bye, give us an opportunity to really, diagnose that first half of the season and kind of, make adjustments from there. You see it a lot where, teams normally coming out of their bye, especially when they're in the, midpoint in the season like the Bears is this year, with a rookie quarterback, you start to see bigger jumps of improvement. And that's kind of what I'm looking to see. I won't really pass too much judgment on the first half of the season yet. We'll see what happens. But if this continues after the bye, going into the second half of the season, where you have to play Minnesota twice and a Brian Flores defense, and you have to play Detroit twice with Aiden Hutchinson, and you have to play Green Bay twice. They're not slouches on defense either. So really, that second half of the season is going to be a big, big, big measuring stick.
We got the Niners in there somewhere too, right?
Yeah, they got the Niners. Yep. And like I said, it's going to be a big measuring stick. We're going to find out exactly how far along Caleb is in his progress. Year 1, his rookie season. We're going to find out quick, fast, and in a hurry. And like I said, I'm not holding too much weight right now. I do get frustrated with the simple elementary school playbook design. Maybe there's something that, a wrinkle or something that's going to happen later. But yeah, the route concepts are not there. They had a couple of good, route concepts in the red zone. The one to DJ Moore in the end zone, running scissors. In the red zone, that was an okay play design. That was essentially, it was designed to pull that safety down to take the corner after the corner gets 8 yards, and that pretty much freed up that little small space for DJ Moore to make that catch, and that's exactly what he did. But everything else, I mean, I know you wanted to talk about, Jayden Daniels, and I'll get to my point about that later. But I mean, right now, Bears 2-2. Next week they've got Carolina. The defense has been doing its thing. Still have not given up more than 21 points in like 6 straight games or whatever it is.
We're on like a 7-game home winning streak as well too. Yes. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. They are playing very well at home. They got the red rifle coming in.
Revenge game.
Andy Dalton's revenge game. So it's gonna be.
I mean, he's looked sharp.
Revenge of the nerds.
And Matt Stafford just dinked us and dunked us. So we got to be ready. I want the like I said, there was a few things I didn't like. It's Matt Stafford, so you're right. Again, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but he is a really, really, in my eyes, a really, really good quarterback, in a borderline Hall of Famer. So I guess, like you said, they didn't give up 21 points. We got some timely turnovers. All around a good game by the defense, and it was nice to see Dexter get another sack. He's been developing. Like I said, I would like Sweat to flash a little bit more, but maybe they're doubling him. I'm not locked in on the D-line as much.
Well, it's nice to see Brisker get involved. Yes, I mean, Brisker he's been pretty much non-existent the first 3 weeks of the season, so for him to have, that kind of game, I'm sure
Sack,
that's a
interception. Should
confidence
have had
boost.
another interception.
Mm-hmm.
It was, defense, everybody was good. Tory Taylor finally had some good kicks. If you were watching the game like we were, the announcers were glazing this man. I've honestly never heard he was like, "Oh my god."
Adam Amin, well, you got to remember Adam Amin, who's been calling the Bears games for Fox. He's a Chicago guy. You know what I'm saying? So he grew up a Bears fan. Mark Sanchez, of course, played for the Bears a little bit. But Adam Amin is a Chicago homer. He's done, White Sox games. He's done, Bears games. He's done Bulls games, stuff like that. So I know Adam Amin gets very passionate when it comes to good plays, especially, when it's coming from special teams, a punter. I know literally, was it last week? I was just bitching about Tory Taylor not doing anything spectacular. And then he goes out and just fucking dots
I will
the
say
punt.
this. I still agree with what you said, and I still take the same point. He had a good game, but I looked up the stats. He's not that like he's not head and
He
shoulders.
hasn't been. He has not been his
And like
best
he
of
had
the
some good
season.
punts, but his punt there's been like 20 punts farther than the punt he's had like last week. And again, I'm not. He looks good. He's got a big leg. Well, it's hard to watch O line play as bad as he is, and we drafted a kicker in the fourth round who isn't head and shoulders above the competition. Like I want to see him kicking 9 yards farther than everybody else. You know what I mean? Top three and inside the 20. Like if not, it's like can we could have drafted somebody and got a punter who was slightly worse than him, and I would have been okay with that. But I like the kid. Nothing against him. This is one of the things where it's like, in hindsight, polls. I don't know. He overthinking himself. Like I said, I don't know if he let polls cook mantra get to him. But I still don't like the pick, even though he had a nice day. It's the punter though. Um, we've seen a bunch of them, and we didn't have to give up a fourth to get them. But to go into the Jayden Daniels point, and I'll even mix Justin Fields in there. Like I said, I'm all over the blogs, the Reddits, and all that Bears, and it's just the Bears fans are arguing. Oh, let Caleb like this is what happens when quarterback goes 1-2, and when you had a decent quarterback who left, you're always going to get compared to those guys. His entire career is going to get compared to Jayden Daniels and Justin Fields, and you know what I mean until one way or the other, he's just so far beyond them that it won't matter anymore. But until now, 1 and 2 get compared. Jayden Daniels, that's just what's going to happen. And I'm not ready to say that we should have picked Jayden over him, but Jayden Daniels has been amazing. He
Well,
does
you
have
got it.
He's got Cliff Kingsbury.
Yes, but let's pump the brakes on Cliff Kingsbury for a minute. If you dive deep into the statistics, like you were saying, you're all over the Reddits and everything else like that. Offense, the first 7 weeks of Cliff Kingsbury's teams, whether he's been a head coach or a coordinator, the first 7 weeks of the season have never been a problem for Cliff Kingsbury. In those first 7 weeks of the season, he wins 76% of his games. Okay. First 7 weeks. The last 10 weeks of the season, his offense does not change at all, and defenses catch on, and he ends up winning 26% of his
Is this in
games,
the
the last 10
NFL?
games of the season. Yes.
I would have to even dive into that because isn't Kyler always hurt at the end of the year too? So it's
Doesn't
kind of
matter.
hard to put up. Well, it does matter if you're back.
Doesn't matter.
You can't hold the offense to the same standard with the backup
Look
quarterback.
look at Mike McDaniel right now
They're
without Tua.
terrible.
Exactly, they're terrible. Because he has the offense
Yeah, but
specifically
that doesn't
made
make me
for
think
Tua.
I'm going to
So
pump the brakes on.
when your starting quarterback goes down and you have an entire offense designed around the quarterback, you have to change it.
I don't know if it's entirely designed around Tua per se. I think he runs the 49ers offense where you really can insert. I just think they
it's
have
a zone. Well, Cliff Kingsbury and Mike McDaniels, they both run like a zone scheme passing game. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of motion, a lot of, quick passes, and it's yak essentially. You were talking about Jayden Daniels with the check down passes to his running backs,
Oh yeah,
and short crossers and slants and everything else like that. It's all about yak and that kind of thing. But over a period of time, like I was saying, those things tend to weed itself out. And that second half of the season, that offense, look at Miami the last couple of years. They start off hot every year, and then Tua stayed healthy last year, and they phased out at the end of the season. because that's what happens. And
I
that
don't know. For Miami in particular last year, I know they played a lot of tough games. They played like Baltimore. Like, I don't know. Like it's weird. There's different things. I won't disagree. I think it's cold. Tua doesn't play good in the cold. Um, but I don't
it's still
like
80 degrees in
what
Miami.
I'm saying is like I don't think Mike McDaniel's a bad coach because Tyron Huntley couldn't come in off the street and be good.
I never said he was a bad coach. I said
Or
he's not adjusting his offense.
well, I'm just saying like it's hard. Like yes, I agree that you have to adjust your offense, but I would that you said that they're catching on. I don't know if so much they're catching on. Like Miami still scores a lot of points. They just don't win the games. That could be bad defense. And for Kingsbury, I would say I don't watch a lot of Cardinals games, but any at all, unless they're playing the Bears. But I will say I'm positive the last like 3 seasons, Kyler Murray's been hurt like the last 10 weeks, like literally 3 seasons. Ever since his rookie season where they went to the playoffs, I think he was hurt at the end of the year.
You'll have to double check that because I don't think that I
Not
think
every game. I'm saying most
I
of
think
them.
he's
Like,
been hurt just that 1 year where he had his torn ACL. He may have missed 1 or 2 games here and there towards the end of the season, but he's played majority of the games while Cliff Kingsbury's been the head coach and coordinator. And I'm talking about coordinator as well in NFL schemes, not just college.
where was he? Where was he a coordinator somewhere else? I didn't know. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
I heard the statistic, and I saw the statistic on ESPN earlier.
But
It
that's
was
still I
ESPN
don't know.
Chicago.
Some of those I don't like the first 7. I don't know. Like either way, I mean, again, it could be fluky, but he's playing good right now. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take
He's
anything
playing
away
good
from
right
Caleb
now,
because
absolutely.
if Caleb was doing that well, we wouldn't be talking about in the first 8 weeks,
No,
and it's
absolutely.
all
I
going to be going
completely
downhill.
agree. That's why I said just give it
Either
time.
say, and I'm not saying I'm not, and I said it to preface it that I wasn't saying that I thought we should have took it. I mean, I did say that essentially at the beginning, but now I'm not having any buyer's remorse. I've seen the flash from Caleb, and I've watched some Redskins games, and their offensive coordinator is just a lot more creative and using him to the best of his abilities, and I don't think we're always doing that.
Yeah, well, he's not just using him to the best of his abilities. He's using his entire offensive personnel to the best of their abilities as well. We talked about Shane Waldron's, player personnel packages and how shitty they are. Cliff Kingsbury isn't having that issue in Washington. He's utilizing Terry McLaurin properly. He's utilizing his tight ends properly. He's utilizing Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson how they should be utilized. There's no ifs, ands, or he's not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what Shane Waldron has done these first 3.5 weeks of the season. I won't count the second half of last week or this past week because it seemed like things were maybe starting to gel a little bit. But I think we also are a little bit, cautious. We're cautiously optimistic because we've seen this before where we think there's improvement, and then the very following week it's a fucking egg. And we can't do that against Carolina. We cannot do that. We
No, we
have
can't
to
lose a
drop
game.
30 points. We have to drop 30 points on Carolina. Sure, I'll take a win regardless, but you have to show that you are leaps and bounds better than Carolina is. You have to. If you want to be a good team, these are games that good teams absolutely demolish the competition. And you want to be a good team. Now you have to prove it. And this game against Carolina cannot be a letdown game. You can't sit there and be like, oh, you're not a good team yet. You can't sit there and be like, oh, well, this is a letdown spot, blah, 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 blah. You're not good. You're not a good team yet. You want to be good. You're on your way to being a good team. You're working towards it, but you're not there yet. You're not on that level. You cannot have a letdown game against Carolina because if you do, your entire season is fucked. You just cannot do it. And you have to. Same thing with Jacksonville in London. You can't lay an egg. You just can't do it. Jacksonville's a horrible fucking team. Carolina's a horrible fucking team.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence he was a guy that I was never very high on. And nothing against Caleb is one of the guys who makes me wary, of the generational talent, looks the part, Heisman winner. Did he win a Heisman? Yeah, I think he got one. Lawrence.
Caleb got a Heisman.
No, Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, Trevor. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember. But I mean, he got a natty, played and then lost in the natty. So, but Caleb did look good. Not still under 200 yards. Same problem we've been having, but a win nonetheless. Few missed passes here and there, but the penalties that game were stalling a lot of our drives. Just ridiculous penalties that NFL players cannot be making. Like I said, I don't know. I guess it goes back to what you're saying. They need to be
home.
coached harder. Like, what the hell is happening? Like, these mistakes cannot be made. On top of you guys blocking poorly or jumping, I don't know if it was Caleb's cadence. I didn't hear anything. They didn't really give anybody the blame, so I'm gonna give it to Waldron and Eberflus. That's just shit that cannot happen. We can't afford to do
especially at
that
home.
against the Lions. You saw what they just did. They're putting up 40, 50 points a game. We're gonna have to go toe for toe, blow for blow with them if we want to win.
If
The
I man,
Vikings are gonna be.
I'm so mad that the Bears kept Eberflus because I would have given the bag to Ben Johnson.
I
I'm
don't think Ben
sorry.
Johnson wanted to leave, or why
I
would
don't
he?
think
There
he
was a
wanted to
couple jobs.
either, but
No,
I mean, I would have thrown the bag at him. I would have thrown the bag at Bobby Slowick. I
didn't both
just
of them? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I
they
don't.
both didn't want to leave.
And yeah, even he just put, like I said, polls. We had the rose-colored glass on, but he just put himself in a trick bag. We're moving forward. A lot of tough decisions are going to have to be made that are going to go against what they were saying all along about this is about developing Caleb. Because if we have a losing season, he has to fire Eberflus, and probably Waldron. But it's like even if we have a good season, if it's not like what if we're 10-7 and we have what I mean, 4 more shitters like we did. It's like, do we bring Waldron back? Do we bring Eberflus back? Who's even out there? So we will see. And
Bill Belichick.
I like Bill Belichick. I'm a Bill Belichick guy. I like his analysis. I like he breaks it down a lot simple. I know people don't like him that much. They think he's old.
Speaking of Bill Belichick and Patriots, did you hear Tom Brady on the podcast on
Oh
Tampa
yeah,
Bay?
I wrote that down to make sure we hit that. Yes, Tom Brady said the Bears cheaped out on him. The year that's the double doink year too, right?
2000, no, it was 2020.
The year before, so the year after the double
No,
doink.
it was 2 years. Yeah, technically it was 2 years after.
Yeah.
He said that the Bears were very sneaky in their, very stealthy in their interest in their negotiations with him. Not a lot of people really thought the Bears were actually in on Tampa or on Tom Brady. Tom Brady ultimately, as we all know, chose Tampa. Rest is history. But realistically, I mean, behind the offensive line that was still here in 2020, I mean, Tom Brady wasn't winning a Super Bowl with the Bears. Is as nice as that would have been to have him here.
I won't say that because I remember they got Tom Brady, then they drafted Worth that year to protect him. It's like maybe we do something.
I think Tristan Wirfs was already there
No,
before.
the year they signed Tom Brady was the year they drafted Tristan Wirfs at like 7 or whatever. Yes, I'm positive of that. And then he got a veteran to come with them. Gronk eventually showed up. That's just an example of how poorly run the Bears are. Because Tom said he had real interest.
Yes,
He said
did.
they were being cheap. Why are we being cheap with Tom Brady? Like, I don't want to. Like, I don't understand like the logic involved in it. It's like it's not smart business wise. It's not smart for football wise. It's like he makes your O line better. He gets rid of the ball faster. He demands excellence from people. Like those Patriot O line, like yeah, some of those guys were good, but we saw them go play other places. They weren't that good.
If Ryan Poles was the GM instead of Ryan Pace, do the Bears have Tom Brady in 2020?
Who? Well, that was Trubisky still, right? What
Yes.
year was he in his contract that year? Would have been year
3 going into year 4.
Yes, I think he would have got. I don't know though because he doesn't spend. He's not spending money like on shit that we need. Like yeah, Keenan Allen's cool, but what the fuck has he done? What has he done that for whatever reason Tyler Scott could do? Even though he's in the doghouse, he doesn't even get in the game anymore. I'm just saying like, what is he doing that Tyler Boyd couldn't have fucking did? Like somebody we could have gotten free agency for cheap. Like that's part I'm not getting. Like we didn't again. Rome's great. He had a nice little game against the Colts. We could have had fucking Verse. I mean, I know defense isn't our problem, but we just saw fucking Verse is a monster, and he's not, and he's been doing that all year, not just against us. It's like we passed on him. Dallas Turner's been doing fucking great. I was team get Dallas Turner. Like I don't like this is like I said where I'm double like it just frustrates me. So I don't know what Poles would have done. I would like to think that any smart GM would, like I said, would have went out and got Tom Brady and given him what he does. I mean, it's not like it's fucking some nobody asked for anything. Tom Brady's never gouged his team for quarterback salary, so it was what he was worth. And it's like we're an iconic franchise. We still had a good team then. You know what I mean? At least a solid team. He would have brought, like I said, brought Gronk with him. You know what I mean? That would other people would have gravitated towards the Bears. Maybe we could
Yeah,
have
because
got
we
some other
had
free agents.
Allen Robinson, and Allen Robinson was still good.
Yeah, he was a solid
Um,
number. You know, maybe not his peak anymore, but he was a number one wide receiver.
we had
Like,
Darnell Mooney that was
yeah,
killing it.
it's just I don't know. These guys, I don't. They think too much. And blind people can see like Tom Brady, you give him what he wants and you figure it out. But Justin, like I said, he's been doing good. Looks like we are going to get that fourth round pick, so we will be talking about it again. And like I said, he's paired with Caleb until he washes out of the NFL. That's just how it's going to be, especially for Bears Nation. And as long as he plays even average to slightly above mediocre, it'll always be a question until Caleb
Yeah,
transcends.
I think it speaks more to how bad of a coach Matt Eberflus is and the coaching staff that they had in Chicago.
Oh, 100%.
It's a
It's
bad
100%.
look.
Like,
It's a bad look because realistically, and Mike Tomlin's one of those guys that he's like the vampire of the NFL, right? He never goes away. And he, no matter what happens, his teams are always going to play hard. They're going to have a solid defense. They're going to have a good run game, and they're going to have a manager at quarterback who doesn't, turn the ball over and lose the games. And that's exactly what Justin's been. The first 4 weeks for Pittsburgh.
I
He
wouldn't
had
say.
another
I mean,
game.
last week he was 311, three TDs. So I won't say he was a game manager. But yes,
Well,
most of the weeks.
Tom Brady was a game like this.
I don't
This
think
whole.
Tom Brady
I'm
was a
not
game
saying
manager.
I'm not saying game manager is a bad thing, and Tom Brady was a game manager. He'll admit it. It's not. It has nothing to do with the microcosm of being a game manager in terms of it being, being a bad thing. What I'm saying is that in retrospect, when you take a look at things, the way he's not going out there. Mike Tomlin's not sitting there trying to draw up schemes to where his quarterbacks are throwing 400 yards a game. Trent Dilfer, the ultimate game manager, he had 300-yard games as well.
I don't. I
It's
don't. I don't
got
watch a lot
nothing
of
to
them.
do with that.
Well, it's
It's
just it's
all
a
about
negative.
taking
It's got
what
a
the
negative
defense gives you.
connotation. It's like when
You know,
a girl says you're a nice guy. Like,
I
hey,
don't
what's
put
wrong
it
with
as a
being a
negative
nice guy?
connotation.
What's wrong? Like, I
It
know what you're
has.
saying. That's just
I'm
what it
just
is.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
but
you
you
are.
took it as I was saying that being a game manager is a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that he does not need a quarterback that's going to go out there and throw for 400 yards a game. He doesn't need that. That's not what Pittsburgh is.
I don't think
Pittsburgh
anybody
is
needs that. I think it's just fan.
well,
That's a
that
fan
too.
thing.
Pittsburgh is a running football team, play action, and you have games. You have games where you throw for over 300 yards. It
I would say
happens.
I don't know. They had Ben Roethlisberger for 14 years, and he's far from a game. I mean, I wouldn't call him a game manager, but I would say he's more of a gunslinger. But
Well, Ben Roethlisberger also had the advantage of being like 6'4" and built like a fucking Mack truck, to
uh,
where he could hold on to the ball for 7 seconds because you have three defenders hanging on him and you can't take him down to the ground.
yeah. All right, Bears win. Um, like we said, we have to get this win against the Panthers. We cannot come out flat.
No.
I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks, but I want to see the Bears win by double digits. We are better than them, just like we were better than the Rams, and we had many opportunities where costly turnovers, um, bad third downs, and just things like that, or not turnovers, but costly penalties that we need to clean up so we can show our true potential and not put so much on Caleb. Well, you know what I mean? We could beat. We've already seen Caleb's play poorly in a game that we won. So we need to focus, like you said, game manager, focus on that, lead with what we're good at, and keep the run game going. DeAndre Swift looked great. Let's lean on that. Do that again. The
I
Panthers
just
aren't
want to
very good.
see, yeah, I want to see him take what the defense gives him. Don't try to force anything. Do exactly what you did last week against the Rams. When it's not there, the West Coast offense, the whole Shane Waldron offense, the Sean McVay offense, the Shanahan offense, touchdown or check down. If the touchdown's not there, check it down. Point blank period. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to create. If he escapes out of the pocket, fine. Whatever. Just don't try to force it. You don't need, especially when it's a close game. You don't need to try to be Superman. Um, you know, as much as we talk about it's not a necessity. You have a top 10 defense. You have, you know what I'm saying. That's been very good and proven this year that they will create turnovers by the boatload, especially when
Yes.
when the team has the ball deep into your own territory. I mean, they've created multiple turnovers that way as well. So
Yeah.
let's play smart football. Let's keep that running game going, especially against Carolina. Let's see that double digit win you're talking about. I don't care if it's 10 points. The very bare minimum of a double digit win. Let's go out and get that, and let's go to 3-2.
All right, yeah, let's go. Likes, follow, subscribe. Like I said, please keep it up. We appreciate all the love we're getting some real traction. Hopefully, we get to 5,000 subs here not too long. I mean, we're a couple thousand away, but like I said, we've been up about 500 since the season started. So thank you for that, and we will see you guys next week. And I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Adios.